Hey guys, welcome back to Obsessed with Videos for another multimedia update. In this one, I've got one cinema ticket, one 4K Blu-ray, and 25 OWV Cinema posters. So I'll start with the cinema ticket first, which is for Conclave, the recent film that stars Stanley Tucci and Ray Fiennes. The film is rated 12A. It was released over in the UK and Ireland by Black Bear Pictures, which was a distribution division of Black Bear that was launched Black Bear Pictures that was launched in the UK and Ireland in, I think, 2022 after the closure of STX International. So some people who used to work there were carried over to Black Bear International. And so far they've released films such as Dumb Money back in September of last year. I think they handled theatrical distribution for Ferrari, starring Adam Driver and directed by Michael Mann, which came out on Boxing Day 2023. They've released Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney, which came out in March of this year. And I think they released a film called Origin as well, which also came out in March of this year. Then they released Longlegs, which came out back in July of this year and was a film that had quite a bit of buzz around it. And then most recently they've released Conclave. And they've got two other films coming up that I can think of. There's The Monkey, which is produced by Atomic Monster and James Wan. That one's coming out in February 2025. And then one of the trailers that I saw in front of this film, The Salt Path, which is a co-production between Black Bear Pictures and BBC Film, which is coming out in April of 2025. And unfortunately, Cineworld in Castleford, I don't think is going to be showing any of those two films because I have some unfortunate news about Cineworld in Castleford. What I feared would happen to it has officially been announced earlier this week. It was announced on, I think it was actually the same day that I watched Conclave, that it was announced that Cineworld would be closing 6 more cinemas because they already closed 6 due to their financial situation back in October, which at that point thankfully didn't include the Castleford one, although I was worried it might. But here we are now where unfortunately the Cineworld in Castleford is gonna be no more quite soon. Like it's gonna be over a month till it closes, so there's still gonna be some time left for me to see a few more films there. But unfortunately, doesn't have long left, as it's gonna be closing unfortunately on January 19th, 2025. So not really a good way to start off 2025 in general for me. Because this is a place that I've known almost pretty much all my life. I've had most of my cinema trips here during my life, all the way from 2005 up until 2025. So just nearly 20 years, because I think it was around the summer of 2005 that I started having cinema trips back when I was only 2 years old, with movies for juniors screenings of films like The Magic Roundabout and Valiant. Unfortunately, my times at Cineworld in Castleford will unfortunately seem to be coming to an end in January, and I don't think there's going to be any turnaround on that, unfortunately. And it's really heartbreaking for me. Almost as heartbreaking as the closure of Nottingley Sports Centre, which during its last few weeks I imagined it as a cinema in Nottingley, and that's why I was putting up posters for films in the car and stuff. So yeah, and back when it closed in February 2017, I was quite unhappy, I was sad, I was depressed, I was frustrated about the Nottingley closure, and that became one of the defining moments of 2017 for me. There were some good parts to that year, sure, but then there were times when I got really, really cross and frustrated and upset. And I kind of have a feeling that, like, there's going to be some really dark parts for me in 2025. Like, not serious illness stuff like that, or nothing involving death or anything, like human death or anything like that. It's not like I'm going to suddenly... it's not like something really bad's going to happen, but it's going to be really I have a feeling that it's going to be quite tough. I could be wrong, and maybe I'll have enough distractions to keep me happy most of the time, but I honestly just don't know. It really got me down during this week hearing that news. Although I've still been watching a few films at home recently, with films like U571 and Air Force One and some other films as well. Those are some that I can think of. And I'll probably be watching The Polar Express during Christmas time because, well, it's kind of become tradition for me to watch that film during Christmas, so I may continue it this year. Plus the fact that it's the 20th anniversary of that film because it originally came out in 2004, so that was 20 years ago. Anyway, back onto a more lighter note. Conclave was released by Black Bear in the United Kingdom and Ireland, but in the US I think it was released by Focus Features, which, as you may know, is the independent film division of Universal that is owned by Comcast. And in Canada it was released by Elevation Pictures, which I think is like the Canadian division of Black Bear Pictures. I mean, it's released a few of their films in Canada, as well as ones from other studios as well. And the other production companies involved with Conclave include Film Nation Entertainment, Indian Paintbrush, and House Productions. Anyway, the film was rated 12A, as I mentioned earlier. I saw this at Cineworld in Castleford on December 10th, 2024, at 2:20 p.m, and I was in Screen 1, and I was in Row G and Seat 6. And back onto the discussion about Cineworld in Castleford, at the very least, in terms of the amount of films I've seen there this year, it's been more than any other year that I've had post-pandemic, and possibly more than any other year in general, I think, because, like, I've seen over 60 films there this year, so I've definitely gone out with a bang there this year. Can't say that I didn't make the most out of it during its last year, or its last full year. And now onto the 4K Blu-ray that I got in this update, which is Transformers 1, which I've probably mentioned this before, but I'm not sure if I have. I'd say this is one of, if not my favourite film this year, alongside stuff like Inside Out 2 and Trap and 2024 Mean Girls, just to name a few. A perfect movie for the whole family. It sure is, according to Joe Deckelmeyer of Screen Rant. And I'd have to agree, it is a really good film. It's one of the best films of 2024. Anyway, this is obviously a release from Paramount, and a film that is co-produced by Hasbro Entertainment, New Republic Pictures, Di Bonaventura Pictures, and Bayhem Films, and also Paramount Animation. And distributed by Elevation Sales, because they're the ones that distribute the Paramount releases now. And they have since, like, 2020. But some news that was recently announced about Hasbro and them co-financing films. Because, unfortunately, Transformers 1 was a bit of a box office bomb, Hasbro has opted out of co-financing films based on their properties. So that means franchises like Transformers and G.I. Joe, in terms of their film franchises, are now under complete creative control of Paramount. And the same applies to any other company that wants to create films based on Hasbro properties, like I think the Monopoly film that's either being released by Sony Pictures or Lionsgate, and the Cluedo film, or the film based on Clue, the one that's in development, I think by Ryan Reynolds, that is either also being made. I can't remember who's making it, but that whatever company's making these films, then they now have complete creative control over them. And there's the disc itself. And also, this film was just released on 4K on Monday, as well as DVD and Blu-ray, which on Tuesday, I mean, which was the same day that I saw Conclave on December 10th. And I kind of expected that Paramount would release this film on home media in December, even though its theatrical release was in October, because it follows the same kind of release window that Paw Patrol: The Mighty movie had last year, where it was released in UK cinemas on a Friday in October, which was October 13th, and then it had its DVD and Blu-ray release in December on December 12th, I believe, which was on a Tuesday. So they kind of copied the same format with Transformers 1, where it came out in UK cinemas again on a Friday, which was October 11th, and then came out on home media on a Tuesday in December, which in this case was December 10th. Anyway, now onto the posters, in which the first one is Back to the Future. He's the only kid ever to get in trouble before he was born. From Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1985, its UK theatrical release date was December 4th, 1985, and its UK theatrical distributor is United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Universal Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, and U-Drive Productions. Next one is Back to the Future Part 2, with, again, Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Getting Back was only the beginning, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1989. Its UK theatrical release date was November 24th, 1989, and its UK theatrical distributor was United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Universal Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, and U-Drive Productions. And concluding the Back to the Future trilogy is, of course, Back to the Future Part 3. See 3 Futures. Buy 1, rent 2, and see 3 at the cinema. Again, from Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis. They've saved the best trip for last, but this time they may have gone too far. Which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1990. Its UK theatrical release date was July 11th, 1990, and its UK theatrical distributor was United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Universal Pictures, which back then was celebrating its 75th anniversary, and it was the first film to feature the 1990 to 1997 Universal logo. Although this, albeit with this 75th anniversary version that was first used on this film, and then also on other films like the Jetsons movie and Kindergarten Cop, to name a few, and also Darkman as well, just to name a few. And it was also released by Amblin Entertainment and U-Drive Productions. Next one is Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first film in the Indiana Jones franchise. Thriller minute stuff, according to Daily Mirror. The film was rated A because this came out in 1981, and back then the certificates were different from the BBFC. Like there was U, A, AA, and X. However, in 1982, they changed the certificates, with U being the only certificate that remained as it was, while A was changed to PG, AA was changed to 15, and then X was changed to 18. Anyway, The film's original release year was 1981. Its UK theatrical release date was July 30th, 1981, and its UK theatrical distributor was Cinema International Corporation. And it was released by Cinema International Corporation, Paramount Pictures, and Lucasfilm. Next one is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The Hero is Back, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1984. Its UK theatrical release date was June 15th, 1984, and its UK theatrical distributor was United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Paramount Pictures, and Lucasfilm. Next one is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, with Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. This time he's bringing his dad, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1989. Its UK theatrical release date was June 30th, 1989, and its UK theatrical distributor was United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Paramount Pictures, and Lucasfilm. Next one is Zodiac, with Mark Ruffalo, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Robert Downey Jr. There is more than one way to lose your life to a killer, which is rated 15, from the director of Seven and Fight Club, which is David Fincher. Its original release year was 2007, its UK theatrical release date was May 18th, 2007, and its UK theatrical distributor was Warner Brothers Pictures. And it was released by Warner Brothers Pictures, Paramount Pictures, and Phoenix Pictures. Next one is Angel Eyes, with Jennifer Lopez. The deeper you look, the more you will find, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2001. Its UK theatrical release date was August 31st, 2001, and its UK theatrical distributor was Warner Brothers Pictures. And it was released by Warner Brothers Pictures, Morgan Creek, Franchise Pictures, and the Canton Company. Next one is Heist, with Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito, and Delroy Lindo. It isn't love that makes the world go round, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2001. Its UK theatrical release date was November 23rd, 2001, and its UK theatrical distributor was Warner Brothers Pictures. And it was released by Warner Brothers Pictures, Morgan Creek, Franchise Pictures, and Indelible Pictures. Next one is The Pledge, with Jack Nicholson, as well as Aaron Eckhart, Helen Mirren, Robert Wright Penn, Vanessa Redgrave, and Sam Shepard. Detective Jerry Black has made a promise he can't break, to catch a killer he can't find, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2001. Its UK theatrical release date was October 12, 2001, and its UK theatrical distributor was Warner Brothers Pictures. And it was released by Warner Brothers Pictures, Morgan Creek, and Franchise Pictures. Next one is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is rated 12A. Its original release year was 2008. Its original release year was 2008. Its UK theatrical release date was May 22nd, 2008. And its UK theatrical distributor was Paramount Pictures. And it was released by Paramount Pictures, Lucasfilm, and the Kennedy Marshall Company. And fun fact, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but this was actually the first time I saw a 12A rated film at the cinema back in 2008, back when I was either 4 or 5 years old. I can't remember exactly when I saw it, but I know I saw it around that time. And the next one, concluding the Indiana Jones franchise, is, of course, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is rated 12A. Its original release year was 2023. Its UK theatrical release date was June 28th, 2023, and its UK theatrical distributor was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. And it was released by Walt Disney Pictures. Again, I've used the on-screen logo for Disney's 100th anniversary logo with the 100 Years of Wonder tagline, as that version of the logo was used on its theatrical release, as well as Lucasfilm and Paramount Pictures. Next one is The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen, which is rated U. Its original release year was 1994. Its UK theatrical release date was December 8th, 1995, and its UK theatrical distributor was Buena Vista International. And it was released by Walt Disney Pictures in association with Hollywood Pictures, because a little bit of a fun fact is that this film was originally going to be released under the Hollywood Pictures label. However, I think they changed it to Walt Disney Pictures sometime during production or something. I'm not quite sure. And it was also co-produced by Outlaw Productions, but I think that's how the distribution change went. And the next one is The Santa Claus 2, again starring Tim Allen, which is rated U. Its original release year was 2002. Its UK theatrical release date was November 29th, 2002. And its UK theatrical distributor is Buena Vista International. And it was released by Walt Disney Pictures in association with Outlaw Productions and Boxing Cat Films. And the next one, concluding the Santa Claus trilogy, is The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, starring Tim Allen as Santa Claus and Martin Short as Jack Frost. As it is Santa Claus versus Jack Frost. 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas, which is rated U. Its original release year was 2006. Its UK theatrical release date was November 24th, 2006, and its UK theatrical distributor was Buena Vista International. And it was released by Walt Disney Pictures in association with Outlaw Productions and Boxing Cat Films. Next one is Bad Santa, starring Billy Bob Thornton. He Doesn't Care If You're Naughty or Nice, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2003. Its UK theatrical release date was November 5th, 2004, and its UK theatrical distributor was Columbia TriStar Film Distributors International. And it was released by Columbia Pictures and Dimension Films and Triptych Production. Triptych, I think it's Triptych, I'm going to say Triptych Pictures. And the next one is Bad Santa 2, Coming Down Your Chimney, which is rated 15. Its original release year was 2016. Its UK theatrical release date was November 23rd, 2016, and its UK theatrical distributor was Entertainment One. And it was released by Entertainment One, Sierra Affinity, Broad Green Pictures, Quebec Production Services, Tax Credit, Media Talent Group, Miramax, and Ingenious Media. And the next one is Inside Out 2, Make Room for New Emotions, which is rated U. Its original release year was 2024. Its UK theatrical release date was June 14th, 2024, and its UK theatrical distributor was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. And it was released by Disney, in which I've included the on-screen version of the normal version of the 2022 Disney logo, and also Pixar as well, because this is a Disney and Pixar film. Next one is Moana 2, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 2024. Its UK theatrical release date was November 29th, 2024, and its UK theatrical distributor was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. And it was released by Disney and Walt Disney Animation Studios. Next one is Young Woman in the Sea with Daisy Ridley, Defy the Odds, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 2024. Its UK theatrical release date was May 31st, 2024. And its UK theatrical distributor was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. And it was released by Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer Films. Next one is California Man, where the Stone Age meets the Rock Age. A chilling new comedy in full Neandervision, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1992. Its UK theatrical release date was September 25th, 1992, and its UK theatrical distributor was Warner Brothers Pictures. And it was released by Warner Brothers Pictures, Hollywood Pictures, and Touchwood Pacific Partners 1. And also a bit of a fact about why this film was distributed in the UK by Warner Brothers. Because theatrically, between, I think it was 1987 and 1992, where Disney had an international distribution deal with Warner Brothers, in which all of the films that Disney would release during that time, whether it be from Walt Disney Pictures, Touchstone Pictures, or Hollywood Pictures, would be released internationally, at least theatrically, by Warner Brothers. But that only applied to their theatrical releases. When it came to their home media releases, they were still released through Buena Vista Home Video. And that deal between Disney and Warner Brothers was formed after Warner Brothers exited their joint venture with Columbia Pictures and Canon Films, which was called Columbia Canon Warner Distributors, and then prior to that it was called Columbia EMI Warner Distributors, as I've probably mentioned before. But then after 1992, Warner Brothers and Disney went their separate ways in terms of UK distribution. Warner Brothers still kept their distribution for the films that they would release under their label, and Disney would go on to relaunch the Buena Vista International label in international territories. And the rest is history. And the rest seems to be history for them. Next one is The Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton. A wildly imaginative visual feast, devilishly delightful, spine-ticklingly funny, according to Mark Salisbury of Empire, which is rated PG. Its original release year was 1993. Its UK theatrical release date was November 25th, 1994, and its UK theatrical distributor was Buena Vista International. And it was released by Touchstone Pictures in association with Tim Burton Productions, Denovi Pictures, and Skellington Productions, which is an animation studio. I think it's was owned by Tim Burton along with Henry Selick, in which it would go and produce both this film and the 1996 James and the Giant Peach. And a fun fact about The Nightmare Before Christmas here is that the film was originally released by Touchstone Pictures on its original release, because originally, back when it was in development back in the early 1990s, it was originally going to be Disney that was going to release the film under their label from the very start. However, I think it was because of the reputation of Batman Returns and it not being very kid-friendly because of some of the content in that film, even though it was marketed to kids and stuff. That is why Disney kind of wanted to back out of using their own label for this, their mainline Walt Disney Pictures label for this film, and instead opted to use the Touchstone Pictures label for this film. However, starting in around 2006 with the film's 3D re-release, that's when Disney started to use their own mainline Disney label for prints of this film, and they've continued to acknowledge this film under the Disney brand to this day. Next one is The Crow, the original 1994 film with Brandon Lee. Darker Than the Bat. Dazzling, stunning, fiercely hypnotic, either way. Dazzling, stunning, fiercely hypnotic, Lee is sensational, according to Rolling Stone, which is rated 18. Its original release year was 1994. Its UK theatrical release date was June 10th, 1994, and its UK theatrical distributor was Entertainment Film Distributors. And it was distributed in the UK by Entertainment Film Distributors, while Miramax Films and Dimension Films through Disney, I think, handled American distribution for the film. And the next one is the reboot of The Crow. The one that I saw at the cinema back in early September that stars Brandon Lee, which is rated 18. Its original release year was 2024. Its UK theatrical release date was August 23rd, 2024, and its UK theatrical distributor was Entertainment Film Distributors. So it was released released in the year 30 years after the original The Crow, and it was coincidentally distributed by the same company that released the original Crow in cinemas in the UK back in 1994. However, the reputation of this film is not as good as the original Crow, because I think The Crow got good reviews from critics and audiences. This one, however, I think did not. And it was a box office bomb as well, I think. I don't know, but the budget for the film's probably small, so I don't really know. But anyway, the film was released by Entertainment Film Distributors, Film Nation Entertainment. A few German companies there, like FFF Bayern and Deutsche Film Förderfonds. I'm not that good at speaking German, so I was just trying to say it as I could. Hassle-Free Productions, Ash Hill Media Finance, The Electric Shadow Company, Davis Films, and Pressman Film. While the film was released in the US by Lionsgate, it was released in the UK by Entertainment Film Distributors. A similar practice that would be used for the release of Francis Ford Coppola's film Megalopolis. I think it's Francis Ford Coppola. So Francis Ford Coppola's recent film Megalopolis, which also has the same kind of reputation that this film has. Mixed reviews, at least the reviews for Megalopolis were better than The Crow, but it still ended up becoming a box office dud. So there. And the final poster in this update is Dune, the 1984 adaptation of Frank Herbert's classic novel by David Lynch. A world beyond your experience, beyond your imagination. Spellbinding saga of the future, towers over most futuristic epics. It is richer and stranger than just about anything the commercial cinema now has to offer, according to Newsweek, even though, you had the Star Wars films coming out back then, and they were a lot more well-received than this film, and they're generally better films. Not to say that this film's a bad film, I still enjoyed it for what it was, in my opinion, but films like the Star Wars, like the original Star Wars trilogy, and also the recent Dune films that were directed by Denis Villeneuve, are better films in a way than this. More superior, I mean. But either way. Anyway, the film was rated PG. Its original release year was 1984. Its UK theatrical release date was December 14th, 1984. And its UK theatrical distributor was United International Pictures. And it was released by United International Pictures, Universal Pictures, and Dino De Laurentiis Company. So that concludes this update, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon, and see you later.